Okay, and welcome back. So this is going to be an introduction to geometry, and this is actually be very simple. All I'm going to do is just really cover some of the notation. The very first thing you're going to be introduced to is the point. So point P. Basically what you're doing is talking about a position. And there it is right here, point P. And the way you say it is just like that, like the way I'm saying it is point P. And the notation for it is always a capital letter. So whatever letter is assigned to that point is going to be the notation for it. So P. So you'll be like given, P on line whatever, So that's basically what it is. It's just a capital letter. From a point, you put another point down, and the next thing that you construct is a line segment. So that's going to be, like, let's just say, for instance, this P, I made it A. And I put another point down here, B, and that makes a line segment. As a matter of fact, that's a definition. One of the very first things you're going to learn is that a line is defined by 2 points. And that in between those 2 points, A and B, there's an infinite amount of points. So just because you have the ends A, B doesn't necessarily mean there are no other points on that line. There are, they're just not labeled. So this is a line segment here. The way to say it is the way I have it here, line segment AB. There it is right there. And the way you note that is you write AB with a little bar on the top of it. Now, be careful. You can't just write AB like I have right here, because AB represents a certain measure. So let's say, for instance, this was 5 centimeters. Then you would write AB is equal to 5 centimeters. Okay? So that's when you're talking about the measurement. That means if there's a number that you know that's assigned to it, then and only then can you write it like this without the bar. Okay? So that's all I'm going to say about that. Then you have another kind of line. You have just a straight line where it goes on infinitely in both directions. And so that would be written as line AB, like this. Like this figure here is line AB. You would say it line AB. And the way to write that is like this, with a double arrow line on top of the letters AB. And there's no quantitative notation for that, because if they go on infinitely in both directions, well, then there's no number that you can assign to infinity. The next one is, and sometimes, actually, I'm just going to say this now, sometimes the books will write like a little point here and a point here. But make sure the double arrows there. For the most part, most instructors don't really mind that you just write the line like that and write those two, and just write the letters. But anyway, the next one is a ray. It's a different type of line. It basically has a starting point and it goes on forever. So that's the way you write it is the way I have right here, this ray AB. You would say it ray AB, and you would write ray AB with a little ray at the top, a single-sided arrow line with the letters AB. And another way to write a line can be just with a lowercase letter, but you would say line M, or this could be line L or line K, and you would just write it with a lowercase m. So you would, in your proofs or what have you, you could just say M intersects, PQ and RS, So I'll just give you an example. Let's say you have two parallel lines here. So this would be M. So this would be, PQ and RS. And you would say line M, you see, that's it. Line M intersects parallel lines PQ and RS. So that's pretty much how you would label a line. This, just so you know, this would be, you'll learn it later on. This is actually called a transversal, but you'll learn that later on. Okay, let's see, what else we got? Well, you have a plane, and the plane is defined by 3 points. Basically, 3 points determine a plane. So if this screen, forget about what I wrote here, but if this screen was blank, these 2 points wouldn't be enough to determine its plane. Why? Well, first of all, if you can't balance, a camera on these 2 points right here, then you don't have a plane. You'd need a third one, so we'll just put like a third point here. Now you can balance the camera on your, if you had a tripod right here, it'd be like, here's your camera on top of that right here. Don't worry about the artwork. Okay, this is just sorry I don't have an actual picture here. This is just a rough sketch right here of just something on it. Anyway, you need a tripod. I could have just said it without even drawing anyway, but whatever. Anyway, you need 3 points for a plane, and actually that's what determines a plane, and it can be written like that. So you'll see in pictures like, something simple like this, like, you know, X, Y, Z, and N. Like, is Z inside or outside of the plane? Well, obviously it's inside this plane here. But yeah, they would just say, plane XYZ, and the way I have it right here is actually a plane ABC on the top here. So right above this figure here. So here's plane ABC, so here's ABC, and you say it plane ABC, or you can say plane P. They wouldn't both be in the same. You wouldn't have X, like, you see how I have ABC here? Typically it'll just be ABC and you won't have a P in here. The reason I wrote it in here is so that way you understand that it could be written both ways. But if you didn't have, you don't have to label this as ABC and put a P. It would just either be ABC, or there would be a P in here and they would label it plain P, and then in there maybe they would mention something else later on. But for the most part, you just label it like that, plain ABC or plain P. You can call it either way. I choose plain P. It's better. Even if I did see 3 points, I'd probably just call it plain M, just because it's easier to refer to. And the way you would write the notation for that is just plain ABC or plain P. Okay, so now when you have 3 points in a plane, well, first of all, 2 points determine a line. 3 points determine a plane. And in a plane, you can create an angle. Okay, and this angle that I have, actually not the one that I drew inside of here, but the one I have written here by angles, angle ABC, you would say it angle ABC, or you would say angle CBA. So another way to say it would be angle CBA. But you couldn't say angle ACB, because then you'd be talking about a different angle. It'd be the one that appears like that. You see? So you got to be careful. And that's a very common mistake people make, especially when you're dealing with triangles. Okay, but I'll talk about that some other time. And the way to write that is like this, the notation here. It says angle ABC. Some professors or teachers allow you to write it angle ABC. The problem is, though, when you're talking about this angle here, it looks like an inequality sign. Okay, it looks like a less than sign. Also, it can be mistaken for a number 1. Let's say you wrote your 1 really fast. It could be, mistaken for that. It can also be mistaken for the letter L. So you may be talking about angle L. You see, that just looks like a mess right there. Or angle L is less than angle, M. Okay, that's ridiculous. Like, I couldn't even understand that. But if I wrote angle L is less than angle M, you see, now that looks like it's making more sense. Or angle L is less than or equal to angle M. You see? So I think that was actually a good example to show why you probably should use this little angle sign right there. It shows that that's an angle. Now, you have to be careful, though, because